What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. So let's talk about Aaron Rodgers real quick. His return to the New York Jets, right? He's officially, as of this weekend, or I guess last weekend, he's officially back with the team full time, right? That means he's going to be doing rehabilitation within the facility. He'll be there for practices, meetings, etc. Right? It's basically like he's back on the roster, and yeah, basically he's back on the roster, right? He's there in full capacity for everything outside of practice. Now, there's been some interesting comments surrounding, his return to the team, right? A lot of people think that we're talking about it, the egomaniac that we all expected coming from the Packers. We've had a bunch of interesting quotes from him, whether that be from the Pat McAfee show or, him just happening to stop by and speak to a reporter while he's at some kind of event, different things of that nature. A lot of people think that he may be potentially lying about suffering an Achilles injury and all this other stuff. And, it's kind of mind boggling when we start getting to this whole conspiracy situation. You would have to, he would have to be lying. The Jets franchise would have to be lying. Dr. Elatrock, he would have to be lying. Like, that's not the case. He has an Achilles injury, and we may just be looking at a medical marvel here, right? But a lot of people are feeding into that narrative. Hey, he's obviously failed the New York Jets in year one, having that injury. He's soaking up all of the limelight in the meantime while he's working on rehabilitation and speaking about his injury continuously and setting target dates and stuff. It's not only motivational to him, but it keeps the conversation centered around Aaron Rodgers. And I was thinking about this lately. I don't think that's actually the case, right? Everything that I thought he was going to come here and be and, introduced negatively to this franchise has actually been the opposite, right? I think he's been a media darling, most of them would probably say, if not all. We've seen a reinvigorated guy that doesn't feel or sound like he's 40. I would still imagine he's in his early 30s at this point. And we know the expertise and stuff that he brings. But I would say the quotes that we got from the team and, Garrett Wilson specifically after the week one emotional win over the Bills spoke volumes. I'm sorry, kid. I've been through a few significant injuries, right? But I would say overall, for anybody that's dealt with anything significant, and even then it doesn't have to be that, people don't generally apologize for injuries, right? And so there's a huge emotional weight, vest, if you want to call it that, sitting on Aaron Rodgers right now. And a well-respected analyst, and Peter King was on Fox Sports. He kind of spoke about this as well, in that he said, he thinks Aaron Rodgers has pangs about how much the Jets bent their organization, team, and locker room to his desires when the Packers traded him to New York. The New York Jets have made a commitment to Aaron Rodgers unlike anything else that I've seen across the NFL, right? You take a look at the big names, the Lamar Jacksons, the younger guys like the CJ Strouds, the Patrick Mahomes, the Tom Bradys. Guys generally don't get their run of the mill when they come to a team, right? And I've talked about Aaron Rodgers running this franchise, and it does feel that way, right? You take a look at the resources we committed to him, and it was all guys that he essentially handpicked to come in and try to help this team out. Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Tim Boyle, Billy Turner once a couple injuries started hitting us. So we have been to the will of Aaron Rodgers, right? Here's the guys that you say you want that's supposed to help this team, upgrade them, make a significant impact. We brought in your offensive coordinator and Nathaniel Hackett when there was better options out there because you were willing to die on the blade to say that this man's scheme works. He's one of the best teachers in the NFL, and he's a guy that you believe can bring a Super Bowl to this team. And so you've pretty much hit every level. You've hit free agency. You've hit the draft. You've hit the, offensive coaching staff. And so along this line of thinking, there's guilt there, right? You were supposed to be the savior for this franchise. This was now so the Aaron Rodgers era, right? And so it didn't matter how long we got him. If he was one and done and we got a Super Bowl, people would have celebrated even with the investment that we gave up. If we had anything extra outside of year one, we would have been ecstatic, right? And so luckily that's kind of the case, but you have to consider 2024 year one since we lost him 4 snaps in. But I don't think this is a power move, right? Or you know, a egomaniacal type move. I do think Aaron Rodgers legitimately feels like he needs to find a way to make up for the unfortunate injury that he suffered. And so beyond it just being a motivational tool, I think he realistically wants to come in, and this may be a do or die, make or break type situation where if he can come back and Nathaniel Hackett's offense actually looks acceptable under him, you can look at it now and say, okay, 2024, we're back all in. You know, I kind of touched on this with the boys Gunny and Gino before, but imagine if Aaron Rodgers comes in and this offense doesn't look great. Doesn't matter if it's this year, doesn't matter if it's next year. There's going to be no more fingers left at point, right? Everybody's going to get wiped clean off the board. Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be a wrap for everybody. It's curtains and goodbye. But we don't have a single thing to look forward to this season outside of Aaron Rodgers. If he can come back, even if it's only in a practice setting, suddenly you can get this team reinvigorated. And I know they're fighting to death still for Robert Saleh, but you give this offense renewed hope. You give the defense that'll still be mostly intact, if not completely intact next year. You give them a glimpse of what it's actually going to look like, you know, with a successful offense behind them. And that's something you can legitimately carry over into 2024, right? You're not going to see him fall completely off a cliff. Now, the return date, well, by the way, he's officially returned. I don't remember if I said this, sorry. He's officially returned this weekend or last weekend, depending on how you look at it, to the New York Jets in a full capacity, right? He's doing everything but practicing and playing games. So meetings, rehab, all that stuff. He's at the facility. The most recent target rumor date that we have is December 24th, which is the Commanders game, if he actually makes it into an NFL game. And so while I'm still completely against it, again, if he wants to do it in practice, much safer setting, I'm perfectly fine with that. A game I don't think we should be trying for, but from this lens of things, it does make sense. So, I don't know, guys. Definitely afraid that maybe we suffer another catastrophic injury with him, letting him into an NFL game. But at least there's a semblance of a game plan. There's some kind of logical reasoning to it, you know, as long as there's medical clearance and all of that good stuff. So, I don't know. Kind of curious situation. Again, seeing the comments from Peter King, and it was something I couldn't really help but want to comment on because it really is Aaron Rodgers' team, and, you know, by default franchise, I guess. And we are going to live and die by what he does and the actions that he chooses. So I don't know. Either way, let me know what you guys think. Aaron Rodgers returning this year, do the benefits outweigh the risks? And what do you kind of expect for the 2024 season if we do ultimately not see Aaron Rodgers this year? And I'll catch you guys again. Peace.